My name is Julia Dutton, and I have been at Castleview now for 2.5 years. I lived in Iver in Buckinghamshire for 59 years, so it was a big change coming here, but it was the best thing I ever did.
I'm Barry. I've been here for 3 years at Castleview next month, and I've lived in Windsor for the last 45 years, and to me, Windsor's the place to be. I live here with my wife Consuelo, called Lello. We haven't met Julia before. In fact, I think there's only one person we'd ever met before when we actually moved in, and there's now 60 odd people here, so they're all new friends. Okay, I think the community here is quite diverse, to say the least, but it's really makes it much more fun, because when you're meeting new people, it's pretty awful when you've all got the same experience in life. So you have plenty of things to talk about, lots of opportunities to do it. We have formal gatherings and we have informal gatherings when you come down and you find people having a drink or a cup of coffee and you just sit down and join in.
The best thing is that if you want to be sociable and meet people and be with people, there are always people around. But if you want to keep yourself to yourself, then you can. And this is the way it all works. It's great fun, and there are always some kindred spirits.
Well, for me it was very easy. We talked about what were we going to do. We've been married over 50 years now, and we knew that we weren't going to live in a large 4-bedroom detached house the rest of our lives, because basically we got rooms we hadn't been into for several years, which seemed totally crazy. But we've been in Windsor for 45 years and we didn't want to move from Windsor. So the turning point said, gosh, they're building a retirement home, let's have a look. And over the next 4 years we said we must move there in the next 10 or 15 years. And not long after they finished it, we said, well, why on earth are we wasting? Why don't we just get on and do it?
The turning point for me was COVID, really. My husband died in October 2018, and I said, oh no, I'm going to stay in this house. I'd been there at that stage 55 years. I can manage it very easily. But then we had COVID, and it was very isolated, and by pure chance, I saw the advert for Castleview in the local hairdressers, and they were having an open day, and I came here very much not thinking about moving here, but I thought, oh, I could see myself here, and I came, and then my family all came, and I decided this is what I wanted to do. I had no idea of anything, because I'd never been to a place like Castleview. I didn't know what to expect, and the apartment I looked at was wonderful, and I looked straight out to Windsor Castle from my view. I'm on the 3rd floor, and I thought and I've always loved Windsor, and so it was really not a difficult decision to make, to decide that perhaps this is where my life was going to go. Also, I was 80 that year. I thought, I'm fit at the moment. I think I should make a move while I'm still fit enough to do so, and to embrace a change of life.
I think it starts from when we originally moved here. I was travelling abroad a lot. We have an airport. Despite the planes, it's really quite nice to have an airport. Wonderful road links, wonderful rail links. I come from Rickmansworth, which is only 15 miles away. We lived in London and said, Windsor's an ideal place, let's go and move there. We were a bit further out from the town centre, so what was nice again about here was it's within 10-15 minutes walk of the town centre, even at my age, so we can cope very nicely.
I think what I most like about Windsor is that I can walk everywhere. I can walk to church, to the shops, to the dentist, to the doctors, all within sort of a quarter of an hour. And I almost resent having to get the car out. It's really wonderful having so many facilities so near, and it's a lovely town.
Well, my allotment's my local spot. When one thing you do miss when you have a large house with a large garden is somewhere to do your gardening. So before we actually moved, I found an allotment which is nearly 400 yards away. So I can walk there if I want to, but I'm much too lazy to do that. Pop there most mornings, see the sun just about come up, maybe, and really enjoy it. And then that's what more can you ask? You've got the ground surrounding you where you can wander around. Somewhere you can go and do some work and get on with life and feed the residents.
Well, I've got a big balcony, and my balcony is my garden, really. I've got a lot of pots and flowers on it, which I absolutely love. I did have a big garden, and that was one of the other things that made me think I had to move. It became very difficult to manage. And when I came here, and I've made my balcony into my garden here, and that's very special. The thing that I thought about most was I shan't have to worry about the cost of oil and filling up the oil tank, which it was in the winter at this time when I made the decision, and I shan't have to worry about the garden overgrowing or anything. So that was definitely something, and the fact that I wouldn't have to worry if I was ill in the night or anything like that, because there was always going to be somebody around.
Yeah, I think that's a big difference. I mean, having been used to travelling away a lot, and Lella being on her own, as we got older, we decided that we just wanted to be more approachable but still have some privacy. I suppose this is a good balance, isn't it, Julia?
It is.
It's a nice balance between the two. I think for us it was quite good in a way, because we said, right, we're ditching this lot, let's go and buy some furniture for the new apartment, and we'll find somebody to take the old stuff away, and if anybody wants to buy it, then we'll sell it, otherwise we'll give it to charity or put it on a skip. So we made a very simple decision that said there are a few essentials that we'd like to keep with us, but quite honestly, we're moving, we're going somewhere new, let's start again.
I think it was very emotional, really, having been there for such a long time. And a lot of my friends said, "Oh, why are you going to Windsor?" And I said, well, why not? I've always loved Windsor. They mostly seem to go to places further out on the Buckinghamshire side. But I've got a son who lives in Bray. I've got my elder daughter now lives in Bourne End. And my other daughter lives in Sussex, and she comes up at least once a fortnight to see me. So that was the reason.
When you work hard all your life, I suppose it's nice to actually say life isn't now stopping. I think in the old days people used to retire and said, well, now what do I do? I think that's the least of the problems here, is finding something to do. It's whether it's talking, which we're all very good at, or doing things, and you don't have to repair things. I used to do all the repairs around the house, and now I can let somebody else do it, which is lovely.
Well, I go to chair yoga on a Tuesday morning, and I paint, and in fact I'm going on a painting holiday for a week this weekend, so I'm still doing that. And I still think I have the interests, and my friends whom I've known for 50 odd years, so I go and see them occasionally. But it's just all positive, everything about being here. When my family come to see me, they're just very happy that I'm here, and they always say, "Oh, we're just so pleased you're here." And when my friends come, they say, "What a fantastic place." So unfortunately, most of them are situated well, some of them have still got husbands and living in their own houses, and one or two of the other ones have moved to another retirement village, but that doesn't matter. That's their choice. I'm very pleased to be here.
There's another retirement village.
Yeah, well, I didn't say which one. It's.
My family are much more local. My daughter lives in Twickenham. Her husband was told that they had to move somewhere when they moved house last. That was on the railway line from Waterloo, which is where he works in the city, through to here. So they did, and we look after our grandkids 2 days a week. So that's very nice. My son lives in West Drayton, so that they think it's fantastic. They're as Julia said, they're just really pleased that we've got something you don't have to worry about.
I would say don't take too long making the decision, because so many of my daughter's friends say, oh, you're so lucky that your mother moved when she did. I wish my parents would do the same thing, but they won't make the move. And then sometimes they get too old or too unable to do things, and it gets too late for them to do it. I'm just so glad that I made the decision to move, and I would say don't leave it too long. That's what I would say to anybody. I think life at Castle View has definitely improved my wellness and my sort of attitude, really. You know, instead of sort of getting up in the morning and thinking, oh goodness, I've got to do that and that and that, I get up in the morning, I still have to do that and that, but they're different kinds of things and much easier to accomplish than they were in my other home.
Yeah, I think the general, you get up and you think, what shall I do today? On the days that I'm looking after the kids, rather than, oh gosh, I've got to repair the loo or do the window frames or whatever it might be. But more than that, I think you can, and we'll talk about it later, but there are so many things to do in Windsor if you are a resident of Windsor, and particularly if you live closer to the centre. And I think that the location of this is very, very important. It's another stage of life which didn't used to exist. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that retirement was, for some people, retirement was almost an end, wasn't it?
Yeah,
You know,
yes.
That was the end of
Yes.
being almost. You kept your friends, but now it's a new life, and the number of activities and things that you can do, and you don't know about, but when you meet people of similar ages and attitudes, you find out about all the things you can do as well, which is marvellous.
Say we have chair yoga on a Tuesday. There's a physio workout on a Friday morning. There's happy hour on a Thursday evening before the evening meal.
Very popular. There's a
which is
choir
very
on a
popular.
Wednesday.
Oh, and also I've joined a group called Skylarks, which we sing. Probably Patricia told you all about that. Every 3 weeks, which is great. They started that in COVID as something that they could all sort of do and join in. That's basically. I mean, if you want to go to the theatre in Windsor, there are lots of good things on and matinees. So it'd be wonderful. It's very good.
Apart from the allotment, I'm a member of Windsor Eton Bowls Club, which is just underneath the castle grounds. So I can literally walk there in 10 minutes and play bowls and play against all the local bowling clubs in competitions and things. I'm a member of Eton College Golf Club, which is nearly a mile and a half away. And it's probably one of the cheapest golf clubs in the country, I suspect, which sets itself a tautology from its Eton, but it's very nice. It's a lovely little course. It's ideal for people of our age, so you meet people there. I go bowling in the winter because unfortunately the weather changes. So there's an indoor bowls club 5 miles away, so I drive to that 2 or 3 times a week. And believe it or not, there's a social club about 3/4 of a mile away which has everything from kickboxing, which I don't do, to snooker, which is great fun of an evening or an early morning. All the things that Windsor has to offer. Windsor's a very vibrant town, and because it's built of lots of villages with a centre, most of the things are within reach of where we are. I take the car out about 4 or 5 times a day. Particularly when we look after the grandkids, we might get home at 10 o'clock in the evening, it's snowing, it's freezing cold, and we just turn the corner and the gate opens and we park out. It doesn't matter whether it's snowing or whether it's sunny. You know, as far as we're concerned, you drive home and you go up in the lift. Fabulous facility, and I must say I discovered that my insurance company thinks it's a valuable facility because they took £50 a year for my insurance because we park in a park like that.
I think one of the things that surprised me most was how quickly I did settle in here, and how much happier I felt. I don't think this is always the same for everyone. Sometimes it takes people longer, but I think I'd had a fairly sort of traumatic time selling my house, and lots of things happened during those few months waiting to sell, and I began to think I was never going to get to Castle View. And when I did, it was just a sense of great relief, and I just enjoy it so much.
Basically, we fulfilled everything we thought it would be. I mean, we're lucky to be a couple. We're a relatively young couple. My Lelo has all her friends, I have all my friends. We lived in Windsor. What surprised me most, I suppose, is how many of the people walked in and went, "Oh, this isn't what I expected at all." It's, you know, I could live there. And it's an environment you never quite accept. It's always giving you that little chink of, gosh, it's nice, isn't it?
Yes, yes. Even 10 years ago, I wouldn't probably have seen myself making this move, but I'd always felt that I wanted to be sensible about my old age and didn't want to be a liability for my 3 children. And I felt this was probably a good way of doing it. I think that's the most I can say, really. I think my former self would have been very surprised if they could have seen me now. Do you think so?
I think so, yeah. You come after yourself.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, very much, very much. Well, it's a surprise, I don't know really. I mean, I had my mother-in-law with us for 17 years, living with us before she passed. My parents lived with my sister up in Worcester for 12 years before they passed, and I think we swore to each other the last thing we were going to do was lumber our kids and grandkids with us, so we wanted to make provision to look after ourselves. And this is the ideal way of doing it.
The highlight for me is where I'm situated and where I look straight out to Windsor Castle. And I come out of my bedroom in the morning and I walk along, and the first thing I see is Windsor Castle, and the sun rises over that side. And that really fills me with joy all the time.
It's a great place to do the washing up, Julia.
It is. My sink literally looks straight out over the view over there. And what else?
I don't know, we were just very comfortable because the rooms are a decent size. We were used to quite large rooms. They're very comfortable from that point of view. The sunrise is the best thing. You don't get a sunrise in a house in the same way, do you, as you do from here. It comes up, I'm on this side by the road as well, the sun comes up and it comes across, and sometimes you have to draw the curtains again in the morning because you can't see it the far end because the sun's coming straight down the apartment. It's lovely.
I couldn't believe how quickly Castle View became home. And I've been back to, my sister-in-law still lives in the same road in Ivor where I lived. And when I go down there, I feel no regrets whatsoever about the house. I go back, I think, no, my home is now in Windsor. And that's a wonderful thing to be able to feel. I mean, Barry and Lelo, I mean, he's a lot younger. I'm 85, he's only 72.
Youngster. 72 yesterday, yeah.
Yesterday was his birthday. And I feel that's a wonderful thing to be able to feel that home is now in a different place. I had never envisaged that would be the case. I'd had a very traumatic time. My husband had cancer, and the last year of his life was dreadful. He was at home all that time. And I think suddenly I had all this, I had no worries anymore about anything. I had somebody here, met new friends. It was just a different life. One that I didn't expect that I would be lucky enough to sort of enjoy at that age, at my age.
It's about security and about familiarity. I think as you walk through the door, it's really comforting somehow. It's difficult to describe why, but it wraps around you, doesn't it? You sort of walk in and go, oh, I'm here, which is nice. We go and visit friends. We've still got friends in the road where we lived. We go there quite a few times a year, drive past the old house and look down and say, I wonder what they're doing now. But home's about security, home's about comfort, and that's what we've got. We go on holiday, we don't have to worry about it. We want to stay out late or stay over somewhere else. Have we forgotten to do something? You know, it's all looked after, really. It's just nice.